All right, everyone. Now we have the kiss of death, actually. Dick Cheney, yes, Emperor Palpatine himself, is supporting Kamala Harris, according to Liz Cheney, of course. Apparently he plans to vote for her. When you have the endorsement of Dick Cheney, do you really think that that's going to go over so well with liberal millennials? Like myself, I mean, I'm gravitated towards classical liberalism, aka sort of soft libertarianism. But as far as the actual, like, still kind of left-wing millennial crowd goes, like people that are in their 30s, do you really think that Dick Cheney's endorsement is a good thing or a bad thing? I see, like, there's the Kamala Harris wins, page on Twitter, for what it's worth. Link in the description, archived, of course, by the way, to the story. They're gloating about it. Well, Dick Cheney, this solemn statesman, this really great dude, he's endorsed Kamala Harris effectively. Really great dude. Do you mean Dick Cheney, the warmonger? Maybe. Do you mean Dick Cheney, the dude who accidentally shot his hunting buddy in the ass with birdshot one time? That was a big thing? Maybe. Do you mean George W. Bush's vice president? Yeah, color me unimpressed. I'm not interested in any candidacy that gets the endorsement of somebody like Dick Cheney. If he likes them, I probably dislike them. I don't like war. I think that it should be used sparingly and only in self-defense or defense of a close ally. I don't like corporate trickle-down policies economically. I'd prefer economic populism and broad tax cuts for the working and middle class. I'm not interested in the shadow government sort of subversion thing. I'm not interested in the surveillance state. I'm not interested in fear-mongering, and so I cannot support the Cheneys. The fact that Liz Cheney alone endorsed Kamala Harris was bad enough. But if Dick Cheney is aboard, she's saying, well, Daddy, he believes the same thing I do. That's damning, actually. If I got Dick Cheney's endorsement, I would immediately drop out of a race if I were entering politics. I'd say, well, number one, it's going to make me less likely to win, and number two, I've got to rethink my goddamn life. Dick Cheney was basically nothing more than the malevolent, evil-grinned spoiler for the Bush administration. Let me explain. George W. was not a retard. He was an actor in the method acting sense. He acted the fool. He had to have a counterbalance, though, because, of course, he was doing evil things, but then he'd just giggle about them and say, "Heh, I made an oopsie." That was basically George W.'s presidency. I'm sorry I fucked up Iraq. Sorry I fucked up Afghanistan. Sorry I wrecked the U.S. economy. I'm sorry for many, many, many things. Numerous scandals, spying, the so-called Patriot Act and other things like that fell out of favor later, thankfully, and censorship and all of these other horrible things. Very un-American presidency. Imperial presidency, it was called that at the time by liberals, etc., etc. What do you need, therefore? You need somebody to be waiting in the wings to play the evildoer. You need your Voldemort, in other words. That's what Dick Cheney was. He was the face of the evil of the Bush administration. Bush could come off, because he was a method actor, as being just simply stupid. So, I mean, it was a mistake. If I accidentally spied on a bunch of people illegally, well, it's basically, people would blame Dick Cheney. They'd say he's the secret hand that's behind the administration. No, it was Bush all along. Dick Cheney, though, helped to facilitate that particular evil. The warmongering and all of the other things that we saw during the Bush administration. It's the kiss of death. There is no possibility that any sane millennial is going to support a Kamala Harris bid if Dick Cheney is aboard. And we've got Liz Cheney to thank for telling us that your evil daddy has decided that Kamala Harris is the evil candidate and therefore that's the one that he supports. Probably wants a cabinet position or something like that. Can you imagine? Secretary of State Dick Cheney. That would be really, really great for diplomacy. But I wouldn't even put it past them, because they're fucking stupid, number one, and they're fucking evil, number two. I wouldn't even put it past them. Dick Cheney was terrible. The only reason I would care about his endorsement is if he has endorsed someone. Generally speaking, unless I think that it's a ruse of some sort, I'm going to unendorse them myself. Kamala Harris is straight up evil. We know this. She would clearly start a major war if elected. And I think that's probably the main reason why Dick Cheney would support her. The whole idea is that he has a lot of buddies in the arms industry. War is really good for the arms industry because then you need to manufacture more arms. You get all sorts of government contracts and you have more demand and stuff like that. You make money off of it. The whole point is money. Dick Cheney really, really loves money. The Cheney family are completely and totally corrupt, along with the Bushes, who, Mike Pence the other day, he came out and said, well, I'm in good conscience, I can't support Donald Trump. Good! If you were supporting Donald Trump, I would actually maybe raise an eyebrow and say, do I really want the Trump train anymore? But since you have non-endorsed, I'm perfectly comfortable with Big Don. These people are warmongers. They're brutal. They're savages when you think about it. Think about what they do. They cause the deaths of tens or hundreds of thousands of people. How in good conscience can any patriotic American support that kind of bullshit? Trump never started a war. He drew down several escalations, brokered a withdrawal from Afghanistan, and generally speaking in diplomacy, was a rapprochement aficionado. That's exactly what we need. Speak softly, carry a big stick. Engage in diplomacy. Talk even to your deepest enemies and try to draw them out and make them be not enemies. If you do need to whack them, like they do, so they haul off and do something terrible to your people, then you just fucking annihilate them. Until then, you don't do anything. Yeah, you safeguard the borders of your close allies and a few other things, but generally speaking, the military should be in New Mexico and Arizona right now and just fly your A-10s around and eat MREs and stuff like that. That's the Trump policy. It's one that I happen generally to support. I would go even further if I were in office. But the Kamala policy, I mean, if she's being endorsed by Dick Cheney, don't you think that that's probably an indicator that Dick is saying, well, I think that she'll start a war. Oh, this will be great for my stock portfolio. These people are psychopaths. They do not care about human life. They do not care if small children in the third world are splattered in the sand. They don't care if some little old lady just got strafed down. They don't care, as long as it makes them money. They're monsters, actually, when you really think about it. Dick Cheney is literally a monster. I will never change my mind on this. I have been very, very consistent in my condemnation of the Bush administration especially. That's about all. Peace out.